I'm on a mission to try every restaurant in Edmonton.
Today we're having Menya Mori. To start our meal, we had the zangi, which is Hokkaido-styled fried chicken. This was 3 pieces for $5. Portion size was great for the price. The chicken came out really hot and fresh. Outside, perfectly crispy. Inside was really juicy, like really juicy. This chicken was definitely brined or marinated, I think. The seasoning was also on point. Salt level was perfect, and also you could taste it throughout the entire piece of chicken, not just sprinkled on the outside. It also came with 2 lemon wedges that I realize are not shown in my picture here, but the lemon wedges squeezed on top, this was a really delicious app. Next item we had was the Kanoko ramen for $18. This is actually a vegan ramen. The broth is mushroom, taro, and oat milk based, and the egg you see there we actually had added. I have had a lot of vegan and vegetarian ramens in my life, and they're basically always terrible to mediocre at best. And this was actually, I'm happy to say, good. Let's talk about the broth. The mushroom flavor was delicious and came through strong. The consistency of the broth is the impressive part. They used a combination of taro and oat milk to thicken it up and bring it just to the consistency of what you would expect out of, say, a tonkatsu ramen. And consistency in your ramen broth matters a lot because it kind of determines how much broth your noodles pick up when you eat them. The other thing me and my wife loved about this was actually their use of garlic. Like, this was a very garlic-forward dish. If you don't love garlic, I think this dish might be a little tough for you. But we love garlic, and we love this. There was garlic in the broth. There was also some garlic used to garnish. Really tasty. And I guess we were too busy eating because I forgot to take a picture of the inside of the ramen egg, but I promise you it was cooked perfectly. It was jammy on the inside. There was only one thing about it though, was it was a little salty, so I think they marinated it in too strong a marinade or marinated too long, but it was a little bit too salty in my opinion, but just slightly. I have never had a vegan or vegetarian ramen that I would rate above a 5 on my food scale, but this ramen, 7.5. Like, I would take this over probably 95% of the meat ramens available in Edmonton. The next thing we had was a spicy tonkatsu for $19. I picked this because the waiter told me this was his favorite dish on the menu, so I had to try it. Let's start with the ramen noodles they use here, and I realize I didn't talk about it in the last dish, which is crazy, but this applies to both bowls, okay? The ramen noodles here are perfectly cooked. They're not overdone at all, so you really get the nice textural, like, the noodles are soft and nice to eat, but at the same time, they're not so soft they fall apart. So it's really great on the ramen noodles here. The tasu, or the pork on top, they clearly pre-prepped it and then torched it after to give it a really nice flavor. The pork was really nice. And the ramen egg, same thing as the last one, perfectly cooked, but a little bit on the salty side. What was really disappointing about this dish though was it's a spicy tonkatsu, so the broth should still be very pork forward, but you could barely taste any pork at all. You could really only taste the really strong chili oil they used, and they used quite a lot of it as well. The other thing is this is a Chinese style chili oil, so when you use this much of it, it really takes over everything and it almost doesn't even feel like a Japanese ramen anymore. To be clear, this dish did not taste bad at all. It actually still tasted fairly good, but I just feel like if you're gonna call it a spicy tonkatsu, you really should have tonkatsu first, and then the spice to back it up. Not a dish that tastes like I just had Chinese hot pot. So I got really curious because I was like, oh, the vegan, they did such a good job with the vegan ramen. How could this be like this? So I asked to try their tonkatsu broth, and they did bring me a little bit of it. And guys, their tonkatsu broth is legit. It's so good. I think it's like a crime to cover it up with the chili oil, to be honest. Like, it's a crime. So even with that said, I would probably still give this dish like a 6.5. Like, the components are good, execution was solid. It's just a shame that it mostly just tastes like the chili oil. Luckily, I love chili oil, so I'll say that. If you love chili oil, you'll probably still like this. It's just a shame because you don't really feel like you're eating ramen anymore. The last thing we had was a cheesecake pudding with mango puree and coconut caramel for $5. So actually, we really liked this. It was not too sweet. The pudding consistency with the cookie crumbs on top was really nice. The mango flavor really came through. This was really nice.
Okay, food score time. So as you just heard, there are some things that were really good, some things that I think could be improved based on the meal we actually had, which was the chicken appetizer, the vegan ramen, and then the spicy tonkatsu, and then also the really nice pudding at the end. It's a 7.25. The spicy tonkatsu just wasn't quite it, but if they had just dialed it back, I know it's way better because I tried their tonkatsu broth. It is bomb. In fact, This is irrelevant to the meal we just had because I'm rating based on the meal, but the tonkatsu broth that I tried separately, it was an 8. It was an 8. It was delicious. So it's a shame that they have a dish on their menu that kind of takes away from how good what they had is. At the end of the day, there is an item on their menu that I feel is not quite at the level of the other stuff we tried. Now for the service. I think service here was really good, all things considered. So this is not a very big restaurant, but at the same time, there was a lineup out the door. There were only 2 waiters as far as I could tell. And, they were still trying their best to keep up with everyone. They kept our waters refilled. They probably came, I think, 2 or 3 times to refill our water. Ramen does make me very thirsty. They did do a good job of checking on us still and making sure everything was tasting good. The other thing that did come up that was a little bit of a hiccup was that the wait for the ramen was quite long. It was probably more than 30 minutes after we ordered, if I were to guess. But at any rate, they were super apologetic about it. And they actually ended up comping the dessert.
And to be clear, this isn't something we mentioned to them. Like, they came up to us, said, they're so sorry it's taking so long, it's coming out soon. And then at the end, they were like, we're so sorry it took so long for your ramen to come out. It really isn't like this normally. And then they said they'd comp our dessert.
As far as I'm concerned, good service is not about just doing everything right. It's also about how you respond when something bad happens. And I think this place is going to take care of you when things go wrong and do their best to make sure you still have a good time. So as far as service goes, we're giving them an 8. It's good stuff. And finally, bang for your buck. So same thing as the food score. This score does get affected by the fact that I don't think the spicy tonkatsu was at the same level as their other items. And it was still a $19 bowl. At any rate, overall, bang for your buck, we're going to actually give them a 7.25. This is not a cheap ramen spot, but it's definitely not ridiculous either. And for the quality you're getting, I still think the bang for your buck is good. So if you want to go get some ramen, I would recommend this place. Like I said, go get the regular tonkatsu, not the spicy, the regular. I tried the broth. I can say the regular tonkatsu is good. The vegan ramen, if you have a friend that's a vegan or vegetarian, is also really good here. Yeah, you should check it out.